In the end, it's all about this, the harvest. And how much profit you get out of every acre determines your success or failure. If you succeed, well then, you get to do it all over again next year. But it's not quite that simple, is it? In fact, farming is becoming more and more complicated every year. Agriculture is big business, and family farms, well, they need help to compete in a marketplace that's changing quickly.
When we started, a lot of it was just from growing up in that environment, and you somewhat shot from the hip. You just had a good feel for it.
We've learned that it'll surprise you. There's places that you think should be poor that produce corn. There's places that you think should be better that aren't quite as good. It's not as clear-cut as what you think it is. We feel like we know it, but I know we don't.
It's amazing the amount of patience and hard work and sweat equity that went into the family farm, and that's, whenever I came in, I was in awe of what they had done and what they had built, and it was incumbent upon me to keep it going.
The industry is changing, and new tools are revolutionizing how farmers do business. Data has emerged as the next great leap in agriculture, but not all data is equal. Just looking at a few numbers or one aerial image is not enough. That's still just guessing. You have to have it all to make a difference. Anything less is a waste of time, and that's the difference. Farmobile collects more data than any other solution by far. And it does it all wirelessly in real time. With Farmobile, those paper logs are a thing of the past. The data starts working for you, giving you new insights that you've never had before.
It's really easy to just plug it in and go, and it's there, and you turn the tractor on and it turns on, and it's really easy to deal with.
The more and more data you can collect, the fewer what ifs you have to deal with, and the more what is. I'd say, we're probably farther than most with the puck, but we're maybe halfway to what we can do with it.
We're a smarter farmer, definitely, because we have more information and we have the tools to react.
We had 2 bean varieties this year, and we wanted to compare 200 feet of one variety and then stripe 200 foot of another one, then 200 feet of another one. And as the combine would go through the field kind of against the grain a little bit, we could see the speed slowed down in one variety and the yield dropped about 7 bushel. Now we could observe that from the cab, but at the end of the day, it still takes trust for me to believe the combine operator in what he saw. With Farmobile, we can watch it side by side, we can go back, we can evaluate what difference was actually there, and you can see the stripes clean as day. So right there, it's pretty obvious, no arguments. You drop the one bean, you keep with the other.
What I found so very helpful for me on the puck is just the ability to monitor the data from somewhere else. It's very useful just to get the daily report every day and figure out how many acres we've done and what the average yield was. And so all those things, information that I could have gotten some other way, but not gathered together, not in a way where I could look at it every day. So I find that really valuable. Every
Little bit helps, and whenever you can save a couple $1,000s on your chemicals and on your fertilizer and on your seed inputs, it all starts to add up, and it really helps tremendously.
The story doesn't end with just data collection. Lots of systems help you collect some data. It's what you do with it that matters. It's your ability to visualize the complete picture that gives it value. The data has to work for you. Farmobile enhances your current relationships. Sharing your data with professionals in the community enhances the services you're already using. Faster equipment repairs, easier government reporting, and a more effective agronomist are all features of the Farmobile solution. It's wireless, real-time reporting that works with nearly every manufacturer and aftermarket sensor. layer by layer, and season after season, Farmobile reveals data that unlocks the full potential of your land. For the first time, you can visualize everything, field by field, acre by acre, funneling millions of data points from multiple machines into one easy-to-use dashboard, creating the richest data set on the market. At the end of the day, it's all about profit, and Farmobile is helping close the performance gap between your average and your maximum potential.
Being able to collect that and then be able to transfer that to our next generation. My nephew's gonna be running the operation someday. He'll have 40 years of experience from us that will be on a computer screen that he can look at and say, look, we saw what you did and we saw what was successful and what wasn't. That's like transferring wisdom almost.
You can actually function the back end of it. You can see yield maps in real time without having to take it to an agronomist and print it out for you. You know, it's just better across the board in I would say every capacity that I need it to be.
Everybody can study it, and when we get back together to make our decisions, we can refer to that data much easier than historically with flip notebooks out of your grandfather or father's overalls.
We have a mixed fleet and many different operators handling the equipment. So as soon as there's one point of failure by any person at any given time, it starts messing up everything. Last year was the first year we had all of our information for the entire year collected through the puck, and it was nice to finally, for the first time, have all the information that was available to us compressed into one spot. And it's in a spot that's not a drawer. It's a spot that we can't screw up or lose.
We've got a sprayer operator that talks regularly to the agronomist while he's in the field. It brings the field to whoever the expert is, wherever they're at. If you need some additional information or additional guidance, you got that direct information.
We're used to looking at a field in acres, it's an 80-acre field. Now we can look at that field in 30-meter increments, and we have the technology to change populations, or we can change the water rate in that 30-meter resolution, or we can categorize the soil, but we can adapt our practices faster because of that.
Leveraging the data you collect is only half the story. Farmobile unlocks an entirely new revenue source for your farm. Your data is the new harvest, and it's incredibly valuable. OEMs, insurance companies, genetics researchers, and others are interested in what your data has to say. With every harvest, your data becomes more complete and therefore more valuable. Farmobile is the only company that empowers each farmer to sell their data on the open market. Individual farmers can now be partners in research, sales, insurance, and land management initiatives, each one paying to unlock your data.
We have developed this mentality in agriculture that we don't have value somehow. The knowledge that people have, and I think a lot of that comes from companies who've literally taken advantage of the situation where we're going to do something for you, but it's going to cost you money. Here, we're going to do something for you, and it's going to get you money. I believe that we're the ones doing the work. The farmer should get paid for collecting that data. He should own it, and if it gets sold, then he should at minimum share in that.
As more people become aware of it and understand what's going on, I think there will be a tipping point, and I would guess that we're getting very close to that tipping point.
Everybody has told us through the years we need to collect this data. There are many uses for it. We don't even know all the uses we're going to have for this data and the value it's going to bring to your farm, but they never said your data. They said the data. And if you read some of the fine print with some of the companies that are producing the hardware, it basically says if we collect this data, we have the right to use it to a certain extent. I think it's much better when Farmobile comes out and the very first thing they say is this is your data.
With Farmobile being independent and not attached to equipment manufacturer or seed manufacturer, that right there tells us that our data is not going to be seen by those companies unless we allow that.
I always tell people we've only got a year or two to do this thing right, to make sure that farmers do receive that value. It is very much a time-sensitive thing because so much of what we've done is done by habit. And as soon as we get in the habit of giving that data away, no company is going to remark on the fact that it's a heck of a good deal for them. And if we don't start out doing it the right way, it'll be very harmful, I think, to farmers.
The nice thing about information is you don't have to have a great big fancy grain bin site to store it. And plus, it's like having a bushel of corn that you can sell multiple times. So, I mean, if we could sell all the corn 2 or 3 times, I'm going to make a lot more money on it. Well, information's kind of like that. It's like an indefinite commodity.
It should be an income stream, the same as any one of his crops. I think there'll be a place in the future on everybody's balance sheet that will say data, and I believe that's the way it should be. It'll be the first time in agriculture where anybody that say they support agriculture will actually be giving money back. The people in the agricultural sector that do the work, that own the land, that take the risk, that do it because it's their life, they should be rewarded.
Farmobile is doing the right thing by shifting the balance of power back into the hands of the farmer, helping you collect, share, and sell your data. That's farmer power. Visit farmobile.com to learn more.